Hi guys, I'm Emma and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to talk about my favorite reads from 2022. So no, I am not a booktuber. That is not what I do. I don't read enough to be qualified as anything bookish, but I did really like a lot of the books that I read in 2022, and so I thought I would share my favorites with you. I don't think any of them came out in 2022, but I read them last year, so I'm talking about them. So a goal of my YouTube channel is to share about photography, stories, and also share encouragement. And one way I think I can do that is by sharing about books I love to encourage you to do something as life-giving as reading. So let's dive in. So funny enough, I actually only have 2 of the books that I read, and so I'm gonna do this whole thing, and then it will be this digital icon of a book right here because I don't actually have the physical book with me. So the first book I want to talk about today is Ocean at the End of the Lane by Neil Gaiman. I've read Neil Gaiman before. This is actually my second Neil Gaiman book that I've read. The first was American Gods, which was insane and so good. I highly recommend it. It's going to take a while to chip through it. To me, it's a really good fall book, as is this. I think it takes place in the summertime, but it's so moody. Winter and fall are a great time to read it. So I don't want to tell you anything about the book, but I will say it's pretty short. It's only 178 pages, so it's a relatively quick read, and it kind of gets your wheels turning like Neil Gaiman does. That's kind of his gift, is that he approaches storytelling in a way that you don't really see coming. So I definitely recommend giving it a try if you haven't already. Also, a fun fact about this copy, I realized after I read it that it is actually autographed by Neil Gaiman, which is kind of amazing, and I probably wouldn't have touched it had I known. So the next book I want to talk about is called This Is Your Mind on Plants by Michael Pollan. So Michael Pollan is known for his journalism, and he writes on some kind of intense topics sometimes, or potentially controversial. So I know that he has started the Garden series, which I really liked. He didn't actually write that, but he compiled this collection of books about gardening, which I thoroughly enjoyed. But This Is Your Mind on Plants is actually about drugs and drug usage, which is not a topic that I typically dive into. But it was so fascinating because as a memoir lover, he dove into his personal experience, not only researching these specific drugs, but using them. So if you want something that's chock full of information, but also is combined with storytelling about a topic such as that, then I highly recommend diving into it. It took me quite a while to get through it, but I don't regret it. It was a very satisfying read. Another book I absolutely adored this year was In Other Words by Jhumpa Lahiri. It was actually written first in Italian and then translated into English. So it's kind of like a parallel book. So on the left side, you have Italian, and on the right side, you have English. Mostly it's about her experience as being a foreigner in Italy, but also just kind of feeling like she didn't belong anywhere. And I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I'm excited to dive into more of her writing. Definitely recommend if you're looking for something as a travel lover, as a language lover, and that is honest memoir fashion storytelling. A fourth book that I loved this year was Roots and Sky by Christy Purifoy. This is talking about her settling into home, going through all 4 seasons at her home, which is called Maplehurst. And I really enjoyed going through this book as I was myself preparing to be married and start this life with my husband and officially start our household together. And so I loved walking through this one chapter at a time, one season at a time, as I thought about my own life and what it would mean to develop my own home here, not just in a physical sense, but in a spiritual sense. So the final book I want to share with you today is called Still Life by Louise Penny. I've never read a murder mystery. I think I read a little bit of Sherlock Holmes, but certainly not a modern murder mystery. And to say that a murder mystery is cozy seems so weird, but it's absolutely true. And Louise Penny's writing, I've read 2 of her books this year. There's something just so like relational and familial about what she does. And it makes me want to move to Canada and start speaking French casually and also eating a lot of croissants. I'd like to eat a lot of croissants, but that probably has nothing to do with Louise Penny's writing. That's just what I want for my life. The best thing about this series by Louise Penny, which I think is called the Inspector Armand Garnache series, I might have that wrong, is that there are like 16 books, and so you can just keep reading them. I read 2 last year, and I intend to read more this year because I did the math, and I think it would take me 8 years to get through all of her books at that rate. So I might want to go through a little bit faster, but it's also just really nice to know that I can always turn to a Louise Penny novel if I want to be tempted to eat croissants and follow some really nice storytelling about some really tragic things. Hello! Quick interruption from editor Emma, who doesn't have makeup on and stuff and has headphones, but I just want you to know that there's a book I forgot, and it's The Weight of Memory by Sean Smucker. It's just such a delightful read. It's a mystery. It has just a lot of layers to it, and it's almost like fantasy or sci-fi kind of ish, barely, and it made me cry like a baby. So if a book has that kind of power over me, it has to be shared here. So definitely check that one out. Okay, pretend I wasn't here. So there you have it. Those are my top 5 reads from 2022. In total, I think I read about 22 books or so, give or take. It's kind of hard to know because I think I forgot some of the books that I read. But still, that's like roughly the ballpark. I'm not a heavy reader, but I do hope to read quite a bit more this year because I am finding that it brings me a lot of joy and it makes me very thinky. I have added links to all of the books mentioned in the description in this video. I would love to hear what you loved this past year and what you plan to read in the upcoming year. I know I did not talk about my reads for 2023, and I don't know that I will because who knows what will actually happen, but I am off to a good start. I think I've already finished 3 books this year. Is that true? Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to comment below if you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. And as always, subscribe if you want to see more of my content. So thanks for stopping by.